I think I mentioned to you, remind me to talk about the manner of the directors working with people. I always say when I'm working with somebody, they're doing something I don't want them to do. And I know I want to stop it because I want to go back, because what they're missing is something foundational, basic. It's not that they don't know their line yet. It's not that they're not looking at the person yet. It's not that they sat the wrong place, even though last night I told them. None of that makes any difference at this point. What makes a difference is, are they playing the moment? Is the moment living? So when I interrupt them, I always say, first thing out of my mouth, excuse me. Okay, now what we talked about, I always say excuse me. I always let them know that I recognize that I am interrupting them, that they were trying to do something, and I'm interrupting that. And that is something that, although they recognize you need to do that, nonetheless, if you excuse yourself into it, then there is a recognition in them that you recognize
that you have interrupted.
That you have interrupted
some
the process
flow of something
that they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And your manner should always be even keel and, in that sense, slightly apologetic about interrupting them. And always when I give notes, you don't give any notes yet in this fifth phase, but always when I give notes, I try to give them humorously. I don't try to make a joke out of it, but I don't say, now listen here, in that point, you've got to be strong, demanding. I'll say, when you say, I think I'm going to kill you, I don't think that's a love tap. Or I'll say it in some way to encourage them. First of all, they know, but something in my manner is apologetic in a sense. Uh-huh. It's not demanding.
Right.
Now, that's not like Bernstein. He was demanding and yelling and stuff, sometimes, and sarcastic. Well, that'll be perfect, folks, or something. He would not always be that. I think that was to the detriment. That's an ego thing, usually. Mm-hmm. And what people respond to in your manner is that you don't care anything about ego, your own ego, or anything else. You don't care anything about being right. You don't care. All you care about is that moment lives, and that they have to make it live, not you, and that you're cognizant of that. And so if they're making one thing live, and you interrupt that, you need to excuse your way into doing that. Mm-hmm. And I just always say, excuse me, but there are other things one could say. I wouldn't teach people to say always, excuse me, because then it can be a jargonistic thing that they just say, excuse me, and they're not trying to excuse themselves, really. Right. They're only saying, cut,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What are some other things that you've used besides excuse me?
No, that's all I ever say. I mean, that just came out of me. Somebody could say it in any way they want to. Mm-hmm. When the effect is, in my manner, I realize I'm interrupting. I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but, mm-hmm. that's a little too much for me to say.
Yeah.
So I just say, excuse me. Okay. Now listen, John, when you come in, we talked earlier, and we read through, and you had something there. What was that? You came through, and we did that part, and I told you, be strong now, and you're not being strong. What the fuck is the matter? No. Because they are right to feel persecuted by somebody who's demanding something of them. When yet, now we're not before the audience yet, and I just started doing this, and this isn't the easiest thing in the world to do anyway. To just come on and when an actor is verbally punished, which is what they feel like they're being punished for not doing it, that eats away at their confidence. So now they're going to get mechanical, and now they're going to push, and now they're going to try to do things. Lee said in the directing class, one thing that he said, which is perfect, which I've mentioned to you before: if you make somebody do something, they'll do it in a way that you'll wish you'd never thought of it. And that's not just to spite you. They'll do it they'll push, or they'll do it in an attitudinal way where they think they're giving you the thing and so forth. Let's see is this enough for you, Lee, or whatever else.
Yeah.
So that your manner should always be, my job is to guide you, and I'm only guiding you. I'm not demanding. I'm not pushing. I'm not making you do something. Now, you can be firm, but you'd be surprised how just saying something like this, John, I've already said excuse me, and then I just said John. Somehow I don't think that's exactly what we've talked about needs to be there. Right? Or did I mislead you? Not. John, I've told you 16 times, it can't be that. When you do that, it fucks up the scene. No. All that's punitive.
Yeah.
The other way is as strong as I will be. Now, if I feel somebody is on purpose going against me, I do not take it up in front of the other people. We start to leave. I say, "Oh, John, I got a couple of notes for you before you leave. So when everybody, I'll talk to you last, okay?" So everybody comes up. Usually, people have questions, and the questions, they will come to you after rehearsal and say, "Well, at that point, they're not asking you the question. They want you to reiterate
Reassure
that they're
them
doing well." And so you do that. You allow them to do that and do that. And all of those things, you just recognize that that's what they want and let them do it. It doesn't hurt anything. You don't go overboard like Irma, who tells them how wonderful they are, or anything else like that. You just say, "No, I think it's working there. It's fine. Don't worry. I think it's going to be good there." And let them go. And then that other person now who's doing something to spite you. Usually you don't run into this if you do the things that I've talked about up to this point. Because people see both in your manner and in what you do that you don't care to do anything because you want it. You're only talking about the play always. You're only trying to do something in the service of the play. And they get that. And they believe in you. So you don't usually run into these things. But if you do, don't do it in front of the rest. Say, I think you understand what I feel here needs to be there. I may be wrong, but it seems to me that you're determined, at least you wish, not to do that. So tell me what you want to do and why. And they tell you, "Well, it's because I feel that such and such should happen." Now, if they're doing something wrong, they've missed the logic somewhere, the behavioral logic somewhere. Nobody wants to be bad just because they want to be bad, just to spite you. So then you say, "Well, wait a minute. Yeah, I see why you might think that, but isn't it true that..." And since you're the authority on the play, if you've done all the work at the beginning, there's nothing anybody can ever ask you that stumps you. But say they do, and you don't see a reason from just listening to him that it couldn't be his way instead of your way. Then you just say, "Well, okay, let me think about it, will you? Maybe we can do it that way. Doesn't feel right to me right now, but I'll think about it, and next time through, I'll watch it with your conception of what it should be there, and we'll see if that works. We'll see how that works." So you let him know that he'll at least get a chance to. You don't try to fight him or anything else. You give him a chance, and then when it works, you can adjust your conception of that moment.
You mean if
when it works,
yeah,
when he does it, and you say, "Oh yeah, I see what he's getting at." Well, we can have that there.
Okay.
It's a little going in the side door, but if it's a significant point, you won't do that. you'll say, doesn't feel right for me, and I don't want, then you can start to use the dirty little secret, but not to let him know you're doing it. I wouldn't want people to not think you, because I know you understand the play, and I don't want them to get the wrong idea about your abilities here. I don't know, I'm going to keep this in mind, and I may be wrong, and we got a lot of rehearsal left, so maybe I'll come around to your way of seeing it, but it just doesn't feel right to me now, so let's try to do it this way and see what happens. And
Meaning the other way, the way that
I initially think it needs to be done. By the way, I think it needs to be done is not the way I think it needs to be done. It means that I know what the situational reality is that person feels is a different situational reality.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I might have to swallow that.
Right. Meaning
in a small moment.
Meaning like
to get
the overall.
In
other words, you might have to pick your battles.
Right. But as a director, nobody's going to come to do this after you've done that second phase of rehearsals, because they will not have known what the lines mean, and you will show them what the lines mean by leading them to their conception of what the lines mean. It happens to be the right conception, but they feel it's theirs. So later they're not going to go against the thing that they thought up, because they'll be self-congratulatory about thinking up the thing that you actually led them to without their knowing it. So they're not going to be contrary to their own discoveries. Mm-hmm. They're going to go along with their own discoveries. It's one of the reasons that when you do that whole period of thing, you don't just tell them. It would be much faster to say, in this line, this is what he means. In this line, no, you're not saying hello, you're saying this. And that would be much easier to do, much quicker. Boom, 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 boom. The results would be that you have dictated to them how the lines have to be done and that they can easily not want to buy into.
Right. Oh, because they're going to feel like it's all being done for them now.
Right.
Or they're being...
It's been shoved down their throat.
Yeah.